It was 2 in the morning when the text came in from a blocked number. I was in the kitchen, checking on the beef stew I'd had in the slow cooker for hours. She said she was pulling an all-nighter at work, and I wanted her to have something hot and comforting when she finally got home. The moment I opened the video, my hand shook so badly I almost dropped my phone. On the screen, my childhood sweetheart, the girl I'd grown up with, was sitting on some guy's lap. She was wearing the red dress I'd bought her, smiling wider and brighter than I'd ever seen. "Hey, babe, say hi to the camera," a man's voice drawled. "Oh, stop it," she purred, a sugary, flirtatious tone I'd never heard from her before. She flashed a peace sign at the camera. I finally get what real passion is, what romance feels like. Some people are just so predictable. God, it's boring. I closed the video, and another text popped up. "Dude, your girl's having a good time over here. Want to see what else she can do?" I stared at the stew in the pot, which had cooked down to a thick, rich gravy. It was her favorite, beef bourguignon. I'd even gone to that specialty butcher shop she loved to get the right cut of meat. My phone buzzed again. A text from her. "Hey, this project is kicking my ass. Might be a late one." The same old lie. Just like last week when she was out with her girlfriends, and last month when she had that work conference. Turns out she was just out finding her passion. The block number sent a few photos. I looked through every single one, then walked silently into the bedroom and started packing a suitcase. On the nightstand was the half-empty glass of milk she'd had that morning. She complained the organic milk I bought was too basic, that she wanted oat milk lattes from that trendy cafe downtown. Thinking about it now, it wasn't just the milk she was tired of. "Want to see more?" Another text came through. "Your girlfriend says you'd never leave her." All that history, childhood sweethearts, and all that. I switched my phone off and stared out at the moon. 15 years. And in the end, it couldn't hold a candle to a stranger's cheap thrills. She finally came home at 3 a.m. "Oh, you made your stew?" She kicked off her heels, her face still flushed with a satisfied glow. "I already ate, though. You can have it." I stood in the kitchen doorway as she pulled a box of designer macarons out her purse. "My coworker gave me these. Want one?" A coworker. I guess the guy from the video was a coworker. "Why are you so quiet?" she asked, walking over and sniffing the air around me. "You're always so serious." No wonder. She stopped herself, realizing she'd said too much. "No wonder what?" I asked. "Nothing." She yawned. "I'm exhausted. I'm gonna go shower." As she walked away, I said flatly, "That's a nice dress." Her steps faltered for a fraction of a second, but she recovered quickly. "What red dress?" "The one I bought you last month." "Oh, that one," she said, her voice a little shaky. "I didn't wear it today. It's in the closet." I unlocked my phone and looked at the pictures again. The wrinkles in the red dress were still there, a testament to the night's activities. I could hear her humming in the shower, a popular love song that was all over the radio. In the video, she'd been humming the same tune while flirting with that guy. "Babe," she called out from the bathroom, "can you come with me to that new art exhibit tomorrow?" I knew why she was asking. In one of the texts from the guy, they had agreed to meet up again tomorrow afternoon. She was setting up her alibi. "Sure," I said. "Really? That's great." Her voice was bright and cheerful. "It's about time you loosen up a little." I looked at the pot of stew on the stove, now cold and congealed. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. In her eyes, my thoughtfulness was boring. My loyalty was weakness. My quiet affection made me a wet blanket. And that guy's sleazy, vulgar advances? That was passion. That was romance. "Honey," she said, walking out wrapped in a towel. "You won't believe the crazy thing that happened at the office today." I stood there and listened to her weave her web of lies, watching her put on one last performance. Because this would be the last one. While she slept, I finished packing. Her clothes took up most of the closet space. Last winter, when she had a bad cold, I bought her a dozen cashmere sweaters. She said they were frumpy and never wore a single one. "This stuff is so basic. It makes me look cheap," she'd said with a sneer. That was right after her promotion, when she started networking with a new crowd. She said she needed to cultivate a more sophisticated image, a life with a sense of luxury. And so, the lipstick I bought her was too drugstore, the perfume too indie, the handbag too understated. I pulled open a drawer, and an old photograph fell out. We were 18, sitting in a booth at a hole-in-the-wall diner. She was holding a grilled cheese, smiling like it was the greatest meal on earth. Back then, she told me, "Anywhere with you is the most romantic place in the world." Would Joe? Her laptop was still open. She hadn't logged out of her social media. I saw the direct messages with her best friend. "Chloe, he's just so vanilla. All he does is ask if I'm cold or hungry." Friend, seriously, a guy needs to have a little edge these days. Chloe, right? And he keeps buying me this basic stuff. He has no idea what I really want. But I did know. I knew she liked chamomile tea with honey when she had a cold. I knew that when her stomach hurt, rubbing her back for exactly 3 minutes was the only thing that helped. I knew she needed an ambient sound machine to fall asleep. Turns out, all those little things that made up our life together were just entries on a list of reasons why I was boring. On the nightstand was the last perfume I ever bought her. She'd been dropping hints for months about a ridiculously expensive Tom Ford fragrance. I saved for months to get it for her. Now, I had no doubt she'd probably give it to the man who gave her so much passion. My phone, which I turned back on, kept vibrating. More texts from the blocked number, taunting me. She said you've been making her stews and soups lately. Said it makes her feel like an old lady. She told me she finally met someone who gets her. Someone who can give her a real life. I silently powered the phone off again. By the time I finished packing, the sun was starting to rise. She was still fast asleep, a smug little smile on her face, probably dreaming of her next adventure. The soft click of the door, closing behind me, was the only goodbye I needed. This wasn't just leaving, it was an escape. When we were kids, she said she wanted to spend her life with me. But the life she wanted now had no room for a boring love like mine. By dawn, I was settled in a new apartment across town. My phone was blowing up with missed calls from her. I knew the guy must have texted her, letting her know he'd sent me the videos. The game was up. "Where are you? Did you see those videos? Can we please just talk about this? Don't be childish, Liam." Childish? I opened my photo gallery, where I'd saved screenshots of her texts with the other guy. He's such a relic. All he knows how to do is make stew. He never takes me to a real restaurant. Being with him is so dull. There's zero passion. You're the only one who gets me. You can give me the life I want. Another text from her came through. "Liam, I know, I messed up. Please come back. You promised you'd always take care of me." Unbelievable. When she was moaning in another man's bed, did she remember that promise? A notification popped up. Another video from him. "Want to see the encore? Your girl put on quite a show." I blocked his number. Then I blocked hers. Then I blocked her on every social media platform I could think of. It started to rain outside, the same kind of dreary drizzle as the day we first met. 15 years ago, she'd forgotten her umbrella, and I gave her my jacket to wear. She told me it was the warmest she'd ever felt. But it was never warmth she wanted. It was fire, and she was more than willing to get burned. I put my phone down and started unpacking. No more remembering her schedule, her favorite foods, her million little preferences. And she, in turn, was finally free to live the real life she so desperately craved. My phone buzzed. It was her best friend. "She's a wreck, Liam." Cried her eyes out. "Don't you think you should come see her?" I deleted the text without a second thought. Some people, once they walk out of your life, need to stay out for good. "She's here at the office, Liam." It was my colleague Ben on the phone. "She's making a huge scene. Says she has to see you." I kept sorting through files for the new company I just joined. I said nothing. She told me it was all a misunderstanding, that she wasn't thinking straight and wanted to help you see that. I cut him off. "Did you send them my resignation letter?" "Yeah, it's sent." Ben paused. "She says if you don't come down, she'll wait in the lobby all day. Tell security to escort her out." I hung up and opened my laptop. A new email popped up. It was from her. "These past few days, I've had time to think. I know what I did was wrong. That guy meant nothing to me. He was just playing games. What we had was real. You were the only one who ever truly cared about me." I deleted the email and glanced out the window. Down below, she was standing in the pouring rain, wearing that same red dress, probably hoping it would trigger some fond memory. But she'd forgotten. That dress wasn't mine anymore. It belonged to the memory of her betrayal. My phone vibrated. A new number. "Liam, why won't you answer me? You said you would always love me, always cherish me." The irony was suffocating. When she was laughing with another man about how boring I was, where were these vows? When she was complaining that our life was too quiet, too predictable, where were these promises? A new text came in, a voice message this time. I admit it, I got blinded by all the superficial stuff, but I see clearly now. Your love is the only thing that's real. I deleted it instantly. Some things can't be forgiven. Some hearts, once they stop beating for you, can never be revived. I shut my phone off and opened a new spreadsheet. It was time to build a better life. Not to show her, but to prove to myself that I could be more than enough on my own. Heard she broke up with that guy. Ben texted me a few weeks later. Turns out he was married. He was just having some fun. I was reviewing a project proposal and didn't even look up. She's full of regret now. Her whole Instagram is filled with these cryptic posts about the past, Ben continued. Stuff like, now I understand the warmth you gave me, and the quietest love is the most precious. I turned off my phone and walked to the break room to make a coffee. She used to tell me my taste was pathetic because I drank instant coffee. Now I realize it wasn't the coffee she had a problem with. It was me. My desk phone rang. It was a receptionist. Mr. Evans, she's here again. She brought a box of pastries, said they were your favorite. Throw them out. I looked out the window. She was standing on the sidewalk below, holding the pastry box, her makeup perfectly applied. But something was different. She wasn't wearing designer clothes or carrying an expensive bag. After that man had discarded her, she'd lost all the props that held up her fantasy life. My phone buzzed. A new number. Remember this bakery? You always loved their croissants. I'd say I was sick of them, and you'd secretly eat mine so they wouldn't go to waste. I stared at the text, remembering all the times she'd made me feel small, complaining that I couldn't afford fancy dinners, that my gifts were cheap, that my life was painfully ordinary. Now she was getting a taste of the consequences of her thrilling adventures. Sir, security says she's been standing out there for hours. Don't worry about it. The excitement she once chased had become her nightmare. The quiet warmth she despised was now the one thing she couldn't get back. I packed up my briefcase to head home. My new apartment was close to the office, and my life had settled into a calm, predictable rhythm. The very same predictable life she couldn't stand is now the one she'd kill for. But some people, once missed, are missed forever. Mr. Evans, the acquisition is complete. My new assistant handed me the final contract. Congratulations on the promotion to vice president. After signing, I saw a text from Ben. She got fired. Those videos made the rounds in her industry. Her company said she was a liability to their brand image. I switched off my phone and walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows of my new office. 3 months had passed. Life was finally on track. I ran into her at the grand opening of a new luxury mall. I was in the VIP elevator, and she was wearing a uniform, the kind from a generic coffee chain. She froze when she saw me. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. "Excuse me, miss," I said to her, my voice cool and detached. "The coffee you made was adequate." I saw the color drain from her face. She got the message. She used to look down on service workers with such disdain. Now, she was one of them. "Heard she's hit rock bottom," Ben texted later. All those high-flying friends she may have ghosted her. Word is she has a bad reputation. I deleted the text and got back to work. An email notification popped up. It was from her work address. "Seeing you doing so well. I'm genuinely happy for you. I always knew you were brilliant. I was just too shallow to see it." As I deleted it, I remembered something she once screamed at me. "Look at other girls' boyfriends. They drive Ferraris and buy them Hermes bags. And you? You get me junk from the bargain bin." Now, none of those men she'd dated would even acknowledge her existence. And I had become the successful man she could only look up to. "Sir," my assistant said, knocking on the door. The barista from the coffee shop downstairs just quit. Fine. I knew she couldn't handle the humiliation, but she had made her bed. She used to think my life was beneath her. Now, she couldn't even hold on to a life like that. My phone rang. A new number. "You must love seeing me like this, don't you?" I watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and purple. It wasn't that I wanted to see her fail. It's that she had chosen this path all by herself. "This steak is incredible," the woman across from me said, elegantly slicing a piece of filet mignon. "You don't seem entirely comfortable in places like this, do you?" I offered a small smile. I've always been more used to cooking for others. She was the chairman's daughter, Sophia, a brilliant and respected designer. He had set us up. "Honestly, I think a home-cooked meal is much more meaningful," she said, taking a sip of wine. "It's a shame so many people are obsessed with appearances these days." As she spoke, I saw Chloe walk into the dining room. She was wearing the red dress, now faded and slightly worn. She was a part-time waitress here. "Sir, I'll be your server tonight." She forced a calm expression, but her voice trembled. "Can I get you some more water?" I looked at her pale, drawn face. "No, we're fine." Her hand shook, and the water pitcher nearly slipped from her grasp. "Are you all right?" Sophia asked with genuine concern. "I'm fine," I said, watching Chloe scurry away. She must be new. After dinner, Ben texted. Chloe posted on Facebook that she's moving abroad to find herself. Is that for real? I opened the app and saw her latest post. A caption read, "I was blind and I let the best thing in my life go. I hope you find happiness. It's time for me to start a new chapter." The picture was of a plane ticket to a small, obscure town in the Midwest. She's actually just going there to work as a waitress. Ben clarified in another text. No one will hire her here anymore. I closed my phone as my assistant came in. "Sir, the celebration dinner for the acquisition is scheduled for. Book at the restaurant I was at tonight." "But, sir," my assistant hesitated. "And when you make the reservation," I added, "request a different server." I knew she would hear about it. I knew she would understand it was a deliberate slight. This was the consequence of her own choices. She used to look down on me, despise me, and do everything she could to feel superior. Now, she wasn't even qualified to clear my table. "Let's set the engagement party for the end of the month," I told my assistant, looking at the ring box on my desk. After 2 months of dating, I realized Sophia was everything Chloe wasn't. She didn't chase luxury, didn't care about superficial things, and knew how to appreciate the small details of life. "Heard she couldn't keep that job either," Ben texted. "Someone recognized her from the videos." I closed my laptop and stood by the window. Pedestrians hurried by under umbrellas. It was another rainy day, just like the one all those years ago. "She's working as a cocktail waitress now, I think," Ben continued, posting all this stuff on her Instagram about living her best life and proving him wrong. I opened the app. Her latest photo showed her in a skimpy outfit, laughing drunkenly with a group of sleazy-looking men. "Don't worry about me. I'm doing just fine. I'll show a certain someone that I can be spectacular without him." The comments were brutal. "This is your idea of a spectacular life? Trash is going to be trash. You got exactly what you deserved." I closed the app as my assistant came back in. "Sir, the guest list for the engagement party. Just go with whatever the chairman suggests." When I got home that night, Sophia had dinner ready. The table was filled with simple, delicious food. I thought of Chloe, who always used to say, "Home-cooked meals are so low class." "What are you thinking about?" Sophia asked softly. "Just thinking how stupid I used to be," I said with a smile. "It wasn't until I met you that I understood what finding the right person felt like." Just then my phone buzzed. A new number. A text from Chloe. "I heard you're engaged. That woman isn't right for you. Only I truly know you." I deleted the text and blocked the number without a second thought. Some people disappear from your life for a reason. They should stay gone. The engagement party was at a 5-star hotel. Sophia had thoughtfully chosen a menu featuring some of my favorite comfort foods. "What do you think of the appetizers?" she was saying when a security guard rushed over. "Mr. Evans, there's a drunk woman downstairs causing a scene. She says she knows you." I glanced at the security monitor. It was Chloe. She was in the red dress, her makeup smeared, screaming in the lobby. "Let me in. I have to see him. That woman doesn't deserve him." "Should we?" Sophia started, her voice full of concern. "Ignore her," I said calmly, turning my attention back to the menu. Ben sent me a video. Chloe was clinging to a bottle of vodka, shouting at anyone who would listen. "You don't understand. He loves me. We grew up together. He promised he'd love me forever." Security guards tried to restrain her, but she dropped to her knees on the marble floor. "Please, just let me see him. Just for 1 minute." "Sir," my assistant hurried over, her face pale. "She's threatening to swallow a bottle of pills if you don't come down." I put down the menu. "Call the police." Sophia looked at me, her eyes wide with worry. "Liam, are you okay?" I shook my head. "Let's continue with the party plans." I could hear the wail of sirens approaching, followed by Chloe's hysterical shrieks. "Why? You're the one who promised to be good to me forever. And now you're getting engaged, and you won't even look at me." I walked to the window and watched as the police escorted her away. I thought about what she'd said to that man in the video. This guy's so boring. All he ever does is take care of me. There's no passion. Well, she'd gotten her passion, and this was the price. It's okay, Sophia said, gently taking my hand. I'm here with you now. I looked into her kind, steady eyes and knew, with absolute certainty, what a love worth fighting for felt like. And downstairs, the woman who once despised a quiet life had just lost her right to have one at all. They admitted her to a psychiatric hospital, Ben told me. She had a complete breakdown at the police station, kept trying to harm herself. I was in the kitchen with Sophia. We were making pizza from scratch. Her dough was a little lopsided, but the warm, domestic chaos felt better than any Michelin-starred meal. I heard she just keeps repeating your name, Ben went on. The doctors diagnosed her with severe depression. They think she'll need long-term care. I hung up and watched Sophia meticulously arranging toppings. You love this Hawaiian pizza, so I wanted to learn how to make it perfectly. I suddenly remembered Chloe's voice. Ugh, pizza again? It's so basic. Don't you have any taste? Now, the simple pleasure of a homemade pizza was a luxury Chloe would never have again. Your phone's ringing, Sophia said. It was Chloe's mother. Liam, please. You have to go see her. She's not in her right mind. She just keeps asking for you. I don't think that's a good idea, Mrs. Gable. She says she knows she was wrong. She says she finally understands how much you cared for her, how safe you made her feel. I ended the call. Sophia came up behind me and wrapped her arms around my waist. It's okay. It's all in the past. Later that night, another text from Ben. She told one of the nurses she was so stupid, blinded by vanity. I deleted the text and joined Sophia on the balcony to look at the stars. This quiet, peaceful moment was the exact kind of thing Chloe used to mock. Now, she didn't even have the freedom to sit in silence. What do you want for dinner tomorrow? Sophia asked, leaning her head on my shoulder. Anything's fine, I said, smiling, as long as I'm with you. My phone rang again. It was the hospital. The patient is extremely agitated. She's demanding to see you. I hung up without a word. Everyone pays for their choices, one way or another. She escaped from the hospital. Ben's frantic call came in the middle of the night. She heard you're getting married next week. I looked at Sophia, sleeping peacefully beside me, and quietly slipped out to the balcony. She's completely unhinged, Ben whispered into the phone. She's wandering the streets in that old red dress, telling everyone she's on her way to your wedding. I lit a cigarette. Let the hospital handle it. I know, but Ben hesitated. She told the staff that if they try to take her back, she'll kill herself. And this time, she means it. Just then, a raw, desperate scream rose from the street below. Liam, I know you're in there. Come out and see me. I'm wearing the red dress you bought me. Your favorite one. Sophia stirred, her eyes fluttering open with concern. It's nothing, I whispered, taking her hand. Security will handle it. Why are you ignoring me? Chloe's voice was thick with tears. You promised you would love me forever. You lied to me. Sophia sat up. Maybe you should just go talk to her. I shook my head. She's not worthy of anyone's pity. The sound of police sirens grew closer, and Chloe's screams became more frantic. Don't touch me. I'm waiting for him. He told me he'd love me forever. I closed the blinds and pulled Sophia into my arms. Go back to sleep. We have to look at the new house tomorrow. My phone vibrated endlessly with texts from her. Do you remember the promises we made? I know I was wrong. I really know. Please, just give me one more chance. I read the last one before blocking the number for good. I finally realized that the safe harbor you gave me was the warmest place on earth, and I wrecked it with my own 2 hands. I deleted them all. Some mistakes can't be fixed with an apology. Some wounds can never be healed with regret. On my wedding day, she showed up, wearing that same faded red dress. Security can't stop her, Ben said over the phone. She's telling everyone she's your childhood sweetheart, the love of your life. I adjusted my tie in the mirror, watching Sophia's worried expression. It's fine, I said. Tell security to call the police. Liam, you should see her. Ben's voice was shaky. She's rail thin. Her makeup's a mess. She looks like a ghost. A commotion erupted from downstairs, her voice echoing through the hotel lobby. On what grounds? This was supposed to be my wedding. I'm the one who grew up with him. Sophia walked to the window. Maybe. I pulled the curtains shut. Don't look. It's time for your makeup. "Who the hell do you think you are?" she shrieked to the guards. "I'm going up there. I have to tell him that I'm the only one who really knows him." The sirens wailed again. Suddenly, she broke into gut-wrenching sobs. "Do you remember? You promised you would be good to me for the rest of our lives. Why did I have to go looking for passion? Why was I so blinded by stupid, shiny things? I regret it. I regret everything." The makeup artist came in to touch up Sophia's lipstick. I could see the pity in her eyes. "Don't worry," I said, taking Sophia's hand. "From now on, things will only get better." The voices from downstairs faded. A text from Ben arrived. They took her away, but she said, I deleted it without reading it. Today was the first day of my new life. There was no room for ghosts. The wedding march began to play. Sophia took my arm, and we walked down the aisle. She was beautiful, an angel of grace and kindness. This was the life I was meant to have. And the woman who once looked down on a simple, ordinary life had, in the end, become the most pitiful person of all. They moved her to a closed ward at the psychiatric hospital. Ben told me after we got back from our honeymoon. The doctors said it's a chronic case. She might never get out. I was in the kitchen, searing a steak, while Sophia leaned against the doorframe, watching me. You know, Ben continued, all she does is repeat the same thing over and over. A boring love is the biggest luxury of all. I hung up and watched Sophia as she carefully read a recipe. The simple, home-cooked meal she used to despise had now become the one thing she craved most in the world, an impossible dream. Still thinking about her? Sophia asked gently. I shook my head, thinking about our future. She handed me the salt shaker. You don't think this is boring? This quiet, everyday life? I remembered Chloe's words. You're too predictable. There's no passion. This life is so boring. Predictable is perfect, I said, pulling Sophia into a hug. Because I found the right person. My phone rang. It was Chloe's mother. Liam, her condition is getting worse. She's completely delusional now, so she wants to do everything over. The doctors don't think she'll ever recover. I ended the call and looked out at the setting sun. Some people only learn to cherish things after they've lost them, and some mistakes take a lifetime to pay for. What do you want for dinner tomorrow? I asked Sophia. Whatever you want to make, she said with a smile. Anywhere with you feels like home. This, I realized, was the best life could be. Not a grand, dramatic affair, but a quiet existence filled with genuine love. 5 years later, I was on the floor building a Lego tower with my son. Daddy, who's this lady? He asked, holding up an old photo he'd found in a desk drawer. It was a picture of Chloe in a red dress. Before I could answer, Sophia gently took the photo from his hands. Sweetheart, why don't you go put your toys away? It's almost time for dinner. Later that night, after we'd tucked him in, Sophia asked quietly, how is she? Still in the hospital, I think, I said, turning off the lamp. Ben told me her condition has deteriorated. She's completely lost in her own world. He had texted me earlier in the day. She wears that tattered red dress every single day. Tells the nurses she's waiting for you to come get her. The doctors say her mind is completely gone. My phone still had a text from Chloe's mother from last week. She doesn't even recognize me anymore. She just stares in the mirror for hours, trying to make herself look pretty, saying Liam loves it when she wears a red dress. The doctor said this is probably how she'll be for the rest of her life. Rain began to tap against the window pane, just like it had on the night of her betrayal. Do you remember that woman we saw at the mall yesterday? Sophia said suddenly. The one in the red dress? I nodded. The woman had been disheveled and frantic, running up to every man who passed her. Is it you? Are you here to pick me up? I hadn't realized until now. That was her. The arrogant, beautiful girl I once knew was gone, replaced by a madwoman forever trapped in a fantasy. Hold me, Sophia whispered, curling up against me. We're going to be happy like this forever, right? I held her tight. Some people only learn the value of something when it's gone. And some of us are lucky enough to find a lifetime of happiness in the quiet, simple moments. 10 years later, my son was in elementary school. Dad, my teacher wants us to write an essay about love, he said, sitting at his desk. What's the best kind of love? Before I could answer, Ben called. She's gone, Liam. What happened? She took her own life at the hospital, he said, his voice heavy. With the red dress. I hung up and stared out at the sunset. 10 years. And she never managed to escape that obsession. The grand, passionate moments aren't as important as the simple, quiet ones, I told my son. Like the breakfast your mom makes for you every morning. It's not fancy, but it's full of love. That night, an obituary notice arrived in Sophia's email. Are you going to go? She asked softly. I shook my head. Some people, when they leave your life, should stay gone forever. Ben told me later that she'd left a letter. I used to think luxury was a designer bag or a meal at a fancy restaurant. Now I know it's having someone who is willing to make you soup when you're sick. I had that warmth, and I threw it away for a cheap thrill. I'm sorry. The only way I can repay the life I ruined is with my own. That night, Sophia made me a bowl of my favorite chicken noodle soup. Remember our first date? She said, smiling. You told me the most romantic thing in the world wasn't a five-star dinner, but making soup for someone you care about. I pulled her close. When you meet the right person, the simple life is the best life. Outside, the city skyline glittered, a monument to the fast-paced, exciting world Chloe had chased. A world that had left her with nothing. Meanwhile, our quiet, boring life was the one thing she could never have back. Dad, I know what to write now, my son exclaimed. Love is wanting to make someone a warm bowl of soup every single day. I looked at Sophia's gentle smile and knew, without a doubt, that he was right. I sit by the window of my room, staring at this faded red dress in my hands. It was the last gift he ever gave me. Back then, I scoffed at it, called it basic, called his taste pathetic. I had no idea it would become the only thing I have left. The nurses say I'm crazy, that I live in fantasy. They don't understand. The fantasy is the only place I can go to see him again. The only place where he's still making me soup, holding an umbrella over my head, and doing all the little things I was too stupid to appreciate. God, I was such a fool. I thought life was supposed to be a movie. I complained that his soup was too plain, his gifts weren't expensive enough, that his entire being was too ordinary. I wanted passion. I wanted romance. I wanted other people to look at my life and be jealous. I never realized all those things were hollow. Now, he has a new life. I hear he still makes his wife soup. He makes his son breakfast every morning. His life is just as beautifully predictable as it was with me. But now it's a happiness I can never touch. I saw them at the mall that day. I watched from a distance as he knelt to tie his son's shoe, his movements still so careful, so gentle. The way he wrapped his arm around his wife. It was everything. How ironic. The very things I used to despise are now the things I dream about every single night. Sometimes I wake up in a panic, and I can almost taste every bowl of soup he ever made me. I remember one time I had the flu, and he stayed up all night watching over a pot for me. I just rolled my eyes and said, I'm so sick of this. I want Starbucks. If I could go back, I would tell him, this is delicious. This is the warmest, most wonderful soup in the entire world. The nurses say I talk to myself in the mirror. They say I'm insane, but I'm just practicing, telling myself not to make the same mistake again. This red dress is the last piece of my pride. Maybe this is the only way out. The only way to finally set myself free and to let him finally forget the girl who never knew how good she had it. The greatest luxury in the world isn't a designer bag or a fancy meal. It's having someone who is willing to make you soup. It's just a shame I realized it far too late.